Something's happening.
There we go.
Folks, yeah, we are live. Set it across the screen. You are live. Jim is on location today. I am here in the studio, and today, folks, we have with us Wayne Black. We'll tell you who Wayne is. He's a securities expert, author, wrote the book School Insecurity. Of course, it all has the detail around what you would think it would. School security, the lack of security in school systems, and where the money goes and where it should be going. He'll be here to tell us all about that, as well as a new book he's writing that has to do with houses of worship, synagogues specifically. We'll get into details on that. And of course, he's a securities expert. He ran security detail for former Defense Secretary Secretary of State Donald Rumsfeld. The guy knows it all. And wasn't it? Was Secretary of State Donald Rumsfeld? Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld. Jim, you've got me all flabbergasted today, as you always do with your good looks. So we're going to talk to him about what's going on around the world, and we'll also get into some Doge stuff as well. So that, plus at the end of the show, our top 5 game shows, Jim. Gotta be honest with you, not my favorite.
Yeah, this was when I started going through it, well, I'm like, well, okay, whatever.
That was Jim's suggestion. At any rate, so that
you were excited when I first brought it up, and then
Jim, you always get me excited. That and so much more on another episode of what?
Live from the Patriot Prayer Network studios.
Correct.
2 guys, 1 coop.
Well, we're not all in studios, but anyways, be right back.
Okay.
Lost in the crowd, truth hides deep, buried in the noise. Left hand deals lies, can't stifle the choice. Fight back rage, flames in the night. No more chains, break free from the fright. Eyes clear now, vision in the dark. We stand up, never bow to the mark. We are the storm, we are the fight. 2 guys, 1 coup, bringing light. No more lies, no more games. Stand tall and truth, break the chains. They spit and scream, push buttons in the dark. Yet we rise, never crumble in the park. Paint our faces with colors bright. March ahead in the dead of night. Shattered dreams won't silence us now. Left and right mix poison in the vow. But we see through, we feel the beat.
I was all messed up at the beginning, Jim. I don't know if it was our timing with what you thought was live and not live. You might be a little behind today.
Could be.
Being off.
I got to sign that contract with the free agency, so
I know.
Some of these teams, the way they're paying some of these athletes,
you're getting in on
to go low.
Jim, before we bring Wayne up, it is Warrior Shield Wednesday. Let's just play Warrior Shield real quick, and then we'll get right to Wayne.
Absolutely.
Be right back.
The Warrior Shield Foundation is here to unite, honor, and provide support for veterans, first responders, and Gold Star family members. The foundation will enable them to find the help they need through direct assistance or connecting them by our shared vision network. Using data-driven models, we provide solutions that make a long-lasting difference. We, along with our partners, are dedicated to bringing together like-minded groups and individuals who have committed to making a difference in the lives of our hard-working, everyday heroes. We bridge the gap by connecting warriors or their families with the assistance they deserve and require, such as service dogs, wheelchairs, counseling, scholarships, and team-building retreats, to name a few. You can help right now to make a difference for those who have helped and protected us all. Warrior Shield Foundation, selflessly doing for those who need it most.
Better dig deep, put 'em in the ground.
That's right, folks. warriorshield.org. I'll put it up there. Thank you, Buckeye, for typing that out. Please go support them. Amazing organization who helps other amazing organizations.
And we'll go into a little bit, but a week from today is going to be the special event in the evening, but we'll get into more of that.
We'll get into that more on Monday.
Adjustments to our schedules. So.
Correct. So we'll tell you all about that. But in the meantime, please go support Warrior Shield at warriorshield.org. Do it, folks. We can help. I'm going to bring Wayne up. Here we go. Let's bring him up. We've made him wait forever and ever and ever. Is he coming?
Do you need me to do it?
I don't know why it's not doing it. I clicked it and it's not bringing him up. There you go.
There you go.
Thank you, Jim. Oh, Wayne, sorry.
It's okay, guys.
Welcome to the shit show.
And I'm the one on location.
Jim always does the whole behind the scenes stuff like that. You know, I'm new at this. It's my first time. Wayne, thank you for coming back on. Those of you that have watched the show have seen Wayne before. He has been on before. We've discussed all sorts of issues, mainly revolving around school security and generally right after a school shooting, which unfortunately happens and continues to happen and will happen again, unfortunately. We are afraid. Again, Wayne, thank you for coming on. Explain a little bit to people who are new, obviously, to the show. We have a lot of those. Who you are and your background, and we'll get right into things.
Okay, happy to be here. Thanks again. So my background's law enforcement, and then, like you said, I later protected for a decade. I protected Secretary of Defense Rumsfeld when he traveled internationally, and when we weren't traveling, I was doing school assessments and house of worship and some corporations. So, as you mentioned, I'm in the process of writing a book. This time about house of worship security. The one about schools was called School Insecurity, which is a guideline for parents and grandparents to see what their school's doing. This time we're looking at mostly synagogues and churches. And all people have to do is watch television nowadays to see what might be coming. Excuse me, you had Sarah Adams on, and she's also predicting some bad stuff. But if you look at what's happening in Colombia, so look what's happening today. Sometimes I wonder if rabbis and pastors have a television set. I've often told them if they didn't have one, I'd buy one for them, because every day is a training film for them. If they'd watch TV, they can see the anti-Semitism is just off the charts, and these pro-Hamas rallies at campuses and across the nation are just unbelievable, I think. And well, soon there'll be action.
Well, you know, especially when eventually they're taken, when the schools decide, okay, I want some of that money from the federal government, so I'm going to stop this. They're going to need to go someplace. So are the churches the next place they go to? You know, so I guess that's a good point that, you know, they need to protect themselves from that end as well.
Well, we've seen it too in the past. We've seen attacks on churches before. We've seen attacks on synagogues. So this only makes sense that, you know, and with the pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine movements across the country, it makes perfect sense. And why are they in denial? What is their excuse for being in denial?
Well, it's interesting. It's all over the map. I mean, some of them, like the synagogues in New York, have armed guards. They're very aware. They spent the money on security, and some around the rest of the country, including in Florida, they have nothing. So it's really a matter of the hard target. Who's a hard target? And if I'm a bad guy, I want to succeed. If I'm a jihadist and I want to attack a church, I want to go to a soft target. If I want to go to a synagogue, soft target. But the anti-Semitism that I'm seeing, and especially with this guy that Marco Rubio hopefully will deport, he's from Syria.
Mm-hmm.
And look what's happening in Syria today. In December, the al-Assad family fled to Moscow. Damascus fell.
Mm-hmm.
And who moved into there? An ISIS leader.
Yep.
The country of Syria is run today by a guy named Abu Muhammad al-Jawani, who goes by another name of Ahmed al-Shahar. But anyway, he's a rebel. He's an ISIS guy. And he's killing every day. He has a mass genocide. He's killing the supporters of Bashar. So, I don't think we're paying enough attention to that because it could happen here. Well, the good news is we're hopefully this administration's getting some of these guys out of the country that came here illegally. I don't know if they can do it quick enough.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the fear too. Can they do it quick enough? Do they have the resources and the knowledge where they're all located, secretly located in order to prevent such attacks here on our soil? I don't know. I mean, it's frightening.
The real experts like Sarah Adams say that there's, I don't know if you heard her say this, but there's 1,000 that she thinks 1,000 ISIS fighters in this country. So if you look what one or two people can do, look at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Philadelphia. That's a couple people.
Yep.
Look what they
that's right.
think what a dozen or 2 dozen or 3 dozen can do.
Yeah, and this Mahmoud Khalil, I don't think I'm pronouncing that right, but he is what he is doing and what he is sponsoring. Yeah, okay, protest. He is a legal or not a legalized citizen, but he is on a visa, right? He's on visa here, so he does have some constitutional right. However, there is I can't remember what article it is, but Secretary of State Rubio has come out and said that he's violated that. And when the thing that bothers me with this whole thing, anybody who is watching these protests go on, these are not peaceful protests. And so the people that are defending this guy and fighting for this guy and trying to keep him in here after what is going on, keeping Jewish students from getting to class, going into a building and making sure nobody can come in or go out of that building. Am I not seeing this right? I mean, to me, it sounds like this man, you need to go back home. What you need,
no doubt.
He has a green card status, not a visa, and he's married to a U.S.
Right. That's right.
He's married to a U.S. citizen. That doesn't give him the right, though, under the First Amendment he has limited First Amendment. Doesn't give him the right, no matter what, to pass out Hamas flyers and cause people to get all jacked up about and be anti-Semitic. The big deal is the civil rights of the Jewish students that are being kept from campus.
Correct.
And if you watch Leo Terrell, who's now up there in the Civil Rights Division, he really depicts it very well.
Harvard's next.
Yeah. So you talk about limited, and I want to know more about that. Maybe I should. The limited, because he's got a green card, his limited First Amendment rights are limited to what? Any protest, if he was to protest, say he was just out there protesting with them and saying, stand with Hamas or Palestine or whatever, that would be considered his limited right. But when he's inciting this kind of behavior, is that how that is determined?
Right. Yeah, he's inciting and he's passing out or causing to be passed out flyers from the Hamas PR machine.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's really subjective on the part of the Secretary of State. If the Secretary thinks that this guy is a threat and interfering in our ability to protect our people, he can get him out. That's what it is.
Okay. That's what I wasn't aware of. Who's it? Is it subjective to whoever is in charge at the time? He's been here how long? I don't even know how many years he's been here. And this, he has been
he
doing
graduated
this.
from Columbia.
Yeah.
So At least 4 or 5 years.
At least 4 or 5 years, right? And
But
and he has been doing.
he's not a current student.
No, that's
No,
right.
he's not.
He's
No,
a
he
grad. He
graduated. He's not a
graduated.
current
Right.
student. So, yeah, so that's good. I didn't know how that played out, and if the Secretary of State has the ability to then determine that, which then can lead to what is. Let me ask you this question. I think I know the answer, but a citizen like Jim. Jim's out there passing out pro-Hamas, but he's a natural-born citizen. We got enough of those lunatics doing that same thing, following along the line and sympathizers of them. How do you combat that? What is the legal options? You don't, right?
If they're U.S. citizen, you don't kick them out unless you charge them with a crime, and that's what you would do with a U.S. citizen. Material support for terrorism, doing something really overt, causing a riot, a conspiracy, enhancing people to take over and do something. You remember before in Colombia, and NYPD stayed out of it for whatever reason, but they locked up a janitor.
They did.
So that's kidnapping.
Yep.
It is.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And so somebody should have been charged with that. But
Of course, that was a past administration when that happened.
I think that'll change with Pam Bondi. That will change.
But like you mentioned earlier, and the whole point of the reason why we are trying to make this statement is they are violating, and you said it, the Jewish students' civil rights.
Correct.
And that's not okay. Okay, you may disagree with what Israel is doing, but there's one thing to do that than to keep a student of a particular religion out of a school, out of class. And it's and not to mention the fact that I think parents are complaining because they're paying this school hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to the school.
When are they going to learn that lesson?
The good test would be, let's go back in time to Selma and juxtapose these students with African American students. Think what would happen.
Correct.
If some group kept black students out of college.
Yep. Just think. Think about it. Or you're absolutely right. It's no different, honestly, but with the whole, I got to blame the Elon Omars and Rashid Tlaibs and that whole group of just anti-American, anti-Israel legislation that they want to push through, and their constituents who vote for them. Minneapolis, St. Paul, that's basically a little Somalia there in general. It has been for a while now, and until that gets cleaned up, I think we and I don't know that it will, because they still have the right to vote for whoever they want to there. I don't know that ever goes away. It's just, how do we mitigate it, and how to your point, how do synagogues and how do houses of worship and everything else, how do they protect it? I want to get back to that, because you said something before we got on air about synagogues and about rabbis and about salaries and about things like that. If you can kind of go into that a little bit more about what are they lacking in their security, what would it take, and what is their excuse? Generally, it's financially, is what they tell you, is their excuse for not going down that path.
Yeah, they're all over the map. I was up and I saw some synagogues in New York, and they're very tight. They've got good security. They've got NYPD or other armed guys outside.
Sure.
I checked out one in Virginia where they said that they couldn't even afford to fix the cameras. They did not lock their back doors. They said, well, I don't think we have a budget for that. And meanwhile, the rabbi, it was a Chabad, the rabbi's making about $900,000 a year.
Shy of $1 million.
Yeah. So instead of just asking the congregation for upgrades and things like that, they didn't do it. Nothing will happen to us. And they're in total denial, as they were in the Tree of Life Synagogue in Philadelphia and other places. So it's frustrating, which is the reason I'm writing a book. I can't be everywhere, and hopefully somebody will read the book and change things before it happens.
Well, the unfortunate thing, Wayne, it's going to be like it is with the schools. It's going to take something bad to happen in a synagogue that is going to force people to do it. And then we're going to go back to getting lazy again.
Yep.
And then it's going to get hit again. So it's unfortunate. That's the way it looks like it's going to happen.
Well, it's true.
After the attack on Tree of Life in Pennsylvania, all the synagogues that wanted to talk about security, they wanted to know what they could do. And then after 6 or 8 months, they forgot about it.
Yep.
And now they're good. The other crazy thing that I find out is in states where people can carry a concealed pistol, either with a license or because of constitutional carry. Some synagogues allow the parishioners to carry concealed in the synagogue. Well, you can imagine if something happens, I would call it a circular firing squad. Everybody
Correct.
stands up,
Starts to
untrained.
shoot. Yeah.
God knows what kind of pistols they have, and they start shooting in a circle, and they probably will hit more innocent people. But like we always say, if you have to you have to draw a gun inside a facility, your plan has failed. Your whole perimeter plan, I mean, everything,
Correct.
you're in trouble, and somebody's going to the hospital at least.
Yep, correct. We've seen it. We saw videos of parishioners standing up and firing back, and a lot of times they're like, "Thank God, good guy with gun kills bad guy," and all that. But yeah, you get a series of 10, 12, 14 people, just in random areas in a synagogue or a church, just start randomly firing. Yeah, it's going to be more damage than maybe even the initial shooter who entered it. And I got to be honest with you, we were talking about shooters and all that. Excuse me. I mean, I think that's probably a shooting is probably one of the last things they're planning. I think it's bigger scale. I think it's bombs, whether dirty bombs, pipe bombs, however, homemade bombs. I think it's kind of that, placing them somewhere. I think that's what the plan is. I think that's probably a good ISIS motive, in general. Rule of thumb is that. And it literally would just take some security. And I talk about that because, and we'll get into the Department of Education and cutbacks and all that. And Jim and I have talked in the last couple shows about there's 5 administrators to every teacher, instead of that, but yet there's maybe 1 resource officer at a school,
if that.
it just not, if they're at a school, would it make sense to have basically a resource officer like you would at a school at a synagogue? Is that part of the defense mechanism? Is having a police presence outside of there would deter something from happening, right?
It does. Some churches and synagogues have heads of security. There's a church here in Miami that has a pastor that's in charge of security, and he's a competitive shooter. He has a team of guys. He trains with them. They've got a good plan. They're all on radios. And most importantly, they're outside the church, eyeballing the limited entrances, 2 entrances, and they call them ushers, but they're really security, and they're armed.
Yeah.
So that's the perfect scenario. That's a hard target. But yeah, it does make sense to do it. Not a committee of people that have never done it before.
Right.
Correct.
You see that?
Correct.
Wayne, I want to ask real quick before I want to kind of go back to the politicians that are, they're not, and Matt is anything, they're enhancing the riots, right? They're adding kindling to the fire, if you will.
Correct.
I've been trying to find out, and I've been trying to ask people, and maybe or not, but are there any punishments for these congresswomen, Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, and the people of like that, who, with their words, and with their voting, is completely to take away the civil rights of any American, Jewish American, or Jewish American student? Can we do anything? Can anything be done to get them out? That is what
besides voting.
Other than voting.
Yeah, I don't know of anything other than the voting booth.
Okay.
I don't know of anything. Look, but they're against everything Trump.
No.
So
if
if Trump wants to get people out of the country, they're against it. If he wants to take away visas, they're against it. If Trump could walk on water, they would say, look at that guy, he's a non-swimmer.
Yeah, I know.
Or if he opened the border up and let people come in, they would be against it.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Within the first week, remember what they said? Aha! Look at the price of eggs.
I know. First week.
First
Yep.
week.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
so and
So
because yeah,
go on. Go on, Wayne. You can finish your point.
and of course they hate Elon Musk because Musk is a Trump guy and he's finding all this stuff. And I think part of that too is they're worried about what's going to happen, like the money to Stacey Abrams and
Mhm,
all that stuff.
mhm.
Look, I mean, today, for example, this was today, they found 620,000 for LGB plus inclusive teen pregnancy prevention program for transgender boys.
Wait a second.
You mean
Yes, sir.
girls? You mean
That's a
girls?
lot to
Nope.
take in. None of that is even possible.
That's that's
Yeah.
no, that's correct. But look, if we like that USAID money,
Excuse me.
we don't think that money really went to those places, do we? That the
Excuse me.
the,
No,
the,
not
No,
the
at all.
of
study
course not. Yeah.
the study for mice and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Today, 75,000 for researching structural racism, 50,000 uh, for sexual health among Latino youth in an agriculture community. I mean, it just gets worse and worse every day.
It
So
does. It gets, yeah.
yeah, but I think that's why a lot of these people that are raising Cain, the ouch is way
Mhm.
worse than the bite.
Yeah,
That
correct.
money, we need to follow the money. And Pam
Yeah.
Bondi and the
Mhm.
Justice Department needs to start charging people for ripping us meaning
Yep.
taxpayers off.
Yeah.
You know
I'm
that
gonna 100%. There's a lot I want to get into on that specifically as well. First of all, your take on Pam Bondi. She was our attorney general in our state. Did a phenomenal job. Absolutely. I think she's full board on. There are reports, obviously, that maybe there's some thing going on between her and Cash Patel, or Cash requesting a direct line to the president. I don't think there's anything. I think they're solid together. I think Pam Bondi will be great. I think these things take time. She's getting a lot of flack. And sometimes rightfully so. Don't sit there and spread around this, notebook of I've got the Epstein files, and then it's nothing. It's a big nothing burger, right? What's your thoughts on Pam Bondi in general? Will she be able to make these prosecutions and be able to make, we all want perp walks and we want handcuffs and we want to see these people charged, and we, regardless of, you know, the which crime it is, whether it's it's the terrorism, or whether it's the fact that they were stealing our taxpayer money, or how do you feel about her in general, Pam Bondi?
I think she's going to be good. What I'm waiting to see is what she does with these U.S. attorneys around the country. So in every
Yeah.
district, there's a U.S. attorney appointed. So in Florida, we have three districts: Southern, Middle, and Northern District,
Hmm.
and those are mostly um, Biden appointees.
Yeah.
So typically, there's a bunch of new U.S. attorneys. People think that the U.S. Attorney's Office is not political. It absolutely is
Yeah.
in a jurisdiction. So there's, I don't know, 90 or
Yeah.
100 United States attorneys around
Yeah.
the country that report to her. So I'm looking for those changes. I haven't seen that yet. I
Yeah.
think she's gonna be fine. She's got a big job. She walked into a
She does.
hornet's
Mhm.
nest.
Yep.
You know,
She did. Yep.
Are we
She did.
going to see, because I hate being negative, but I'm starting to lean that way, unfortunately. Are we going to see where the money went? Are we actually going to get to see, okay, Stacey Abrams, you got $2 billion. You have to prove where this money went and show
Mhm.
us receipts and all that stuff, and find out if this money is actually going, and follow it back, because we know it's
Yeah.
coming back, right? We know it's going there and then it's coming back.
Mhm.
NGOs and everything. It's another way to raise campaign monies for Democrats and some
Mhm.
Republicans. I'm not going to say,
Yeah.
they're all guilty, but
Yeah. Mhm.
are we ever going to see an end to it? I just don't know. I'm not
yeah.
confident with that.
I hope so. It's only been what 40, 45 days, but
Mhm.
remember, a nonprofit, a 501c3 corporation, is required to share
I thought
the
so.
books and records.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's going to take somebody like America's First or one of those guys to sue them under the Freedom of
Mhm.
Information Act, I think, to find it. So hopefully those guys are already on it, and hopefully we'll
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
But it just takes one or two.
Yeah.
Look, I hope nobody thinks. I know your listeners don't, but nobody else thinks that that some of that money that went to research on mice in Syria or Bangladesh, there's no way that money went to those people.
There's no way.
When
No
You
way
don't
it
think
did.
the money that went to analyze transgender guinea pigs? You don't
Yeah.
think that went in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it did, Dale. For some reason, I don't
Yeah.
think it did.
Yeah. Yeah, it did not do it. It did not do it at all. We now know that some of the USAID money went to fund terrorism too.
Yep, that's
We're hearing that. I don't know where the proof is. I don't know the scope of it all, but whether it went to direct terrorism, which I believe it did, or it went to this guy from Columbia University, like that kind of, it's they're funding something, the protests or terrorism or what have you.
Well,
That's kind of
we
my
know.
big concern more than anything.
Yeah, me too. We know that the Biden administration, this is a fact,
Yeah.
40 million a week, 40 million a week to the Taliban.
It's
And that's
unbelievable.
partially for their office in Qatar. We're all funding all those other. I mean, it's in the congressional testimony now.
Yeah.
We're
Yep.
funding Al Shabaab, Al Sharia, all these different terrorist groups. We're paying our tax dollars are paying these guys to hate us.
Yep.
That's all. That's got to stop.
So is the only motive there to destroy our republic? Because to me, that can't be the motive, right? Obviously, they don't believe in the Constitution. They literally, they just don't follow it. They're crooks, they're thieves. Obviously, we're 40 million to support you here, but what's the real end game after that? Obviously, there's got to be kickbacks to that 40 million that they give, or what have you. Somebody internally here is getting super wealthy on all that. Beyond wealth, I would think. I wouldn't think it'd be like, hey, yeah, we want you to come over and create this havoc here. I mean, it certainly would put them out of power, in a way. I mean, you can't let, you can't let the Muslim community, and again, I don't want to generate it all, but they just don't believe what we believe. They have no values like our American values. You can't let all that happen and then expect to be like, I'm still going to be the guy in charge, right? So there just seems to be something I'm missing on all that. We're going to give the Hamas this money, or we're going to give these terrorist groups this money, or these weapons and all that. Is it just to fund the war machine, to defense contracts, you name it? I don't know.
I think it's to placate them. I recommend a book called The Grand Jihad.
Okay.
By Andy McCarthy, who was remember the Holy Lands prosecutor after 9/11. And the Grand Jihad is exactly what's happening now. He predicted it even back then. The slow erosion of the United States by funding Islamist groups. There are fundraisers here in the U.S. Muslim Student Association. A lot of these groups are raising money. Muslim Brotherhood. If people look back in history, you can see that the one of the originators of the Muslim Brotherhood, there's a photograph of him meeting with Adolf Hitler to talk about how to get rid of the Jews. So it's happening, and we're asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and
we are asleep.
That's an excellent definition. We are asleep.
We are asleep. At least half the country is asleep, right? I mean, I think the rest of us, know and see. I guess I've been struggling since, I guess, for a while now on this, is that I don't understand how the Democrats see this as and I will put that in general. And I know there are some I get the whole war machine Republican guys, the warmongers. I understand that. But it is the Democrat Party that is pushing this, and it's the majority of the Democrat Party. And now I feel that if you are even a registered Democrat, you are big part of this problem. I don't care how you vote. You are still associating yourself with this group that has allowed all this, the open borders, the funding of the terrorism, now we know all this money, taxpayer money, just pissed away on stupid things that we know didn't go to. I just don't understand. I'm trying to really figure out and struggle with the mindset of this. And maybe I don't, because I'll never lean that way. That's not who I am. So I can't fathom it. It's not even really a question. It's more a statement. I just don't get how they can see this as beneficial in any possible way to them.
Yeah, here's what I think. For them, it's all about bigger government. The Democrat machine thinks that they're smarter than we are. They can control our lives. They know what's good for us. Remember think about toilet bowls, right? Remember they passed a thing that your toilet bowl could only have a gallon because they wanted to save.
Yeah.
They wanted to save water, and then they tried gas stoves.
Correct.
The Department of Education was never part of the Constitution. That's a Jimmy Carter invention.
It is. Yep.
And that turned into a giant monster.
Correct.
Think about all that. So the states know how to do it. Look, the Department of Education was supposed to help, and now what are we? We're 40th in the world. Our kids are less smart than anybody else.
Correct.
It's just
correct.
It's a mess.
Now that you bring that up, I want to play Linda McMahon, who was on, I think, the Ingram angle last night. Was it Laura Ingram last night?
Laura Ingram.
Talking about the cuts that they've already made and what's the end game here for the Department of Education, which we all know and love. But here's her take on that.
In studio today. All right. First, welcome to the show, because you haven't been on in studio with me before. Now, is this the first step on the road to a total shutdown?
Yes. Mandate, this directive to me, clearly is to shut down the Department of Education, which we know we'll have to work with Congress, to get that accomplished. But what we did today was to take the first step of eliminating what I think is bureaucratic bloat. And that's not to say that a lot of the folks, it's a humanitarian thing too. A lot of the folks that are there, they're out of a job. But we wanted to make sure that we kept all of the right people and the good people to make sure that the outward-facing programs, the grants, the appropriations that come from Congress, all of that are being met. And none of that's going to fall through the cracks.
So that was my next question. So the criteria for keeping that 50% is related to expenditures and key programs?
Correct. Congress appropriates the money that is going through Title I, through IDEA programs.
What's that stand for?
You know what? I'm not sure I can tell you exactly what it stands for, except that it's the programs for disabled and needs.
Individuals with Disabilities Act, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't know all my acronyms. I've been here for 30 years.
This is my 5th day on the job, and I'm really trying to learn them very quickly.
Right. It's a lot. So reports today said that the buildings were going to be closed for security reasons. What does that mean?
Well, when people today and they got their notification to take their laptops and their phones home with them, and we didn't want part of the people who were being permanently let go and those who are remaining to some of them show up to work tomorrow morning.
That's standard corporate practice.
So it's just standard corporate practice that we just locked the doors and said for those that are coming back, we'll know that they'll be coming back on Thursday morning.
Were people given a chance to take any personal effects?
They were told that they will be allowed to come back. We would arrange for them to come back and take their personal effects with them and to say goodbye to some folks, too.
Randy Weingarten, you're shocked. I know you two were catching dinner in about 20 minutes, but she actually commented about.
Anyways, they didn't. That's where that ended on that one.
Yeah, we played Randy's rant.
Yeah, we played her rant too. Oops. Sorry, Jim. Did I screw you up there?
Pretty typical.
There we go. I'm used to going to 2. I was like, no need to see Jim anymore. Your thoughts on it? I like the first answer. Is this the first step towards closing? Yes. I mean, it's pretty blunt, pretty cut and dry. It needs to be shut down. Having said that, the funding that goes to the Department of Education now and the control would go back to the states. Again, the left will go crazy, just like abortion, just like abortion laws going back to the states, or a sovereign nation, as it should be. Go back to the states, and the states can decide how they're going to run their educational systems. Again, your San Francisco's, your Chicago's, your Los Angeles's, your, New York City's, your whatever it is going to be, they're not going to change. regardless of where that money's coming from, and regardless how it's ran, right? There's still going to be the security issues. There's still going to be educational issues, but I think it allows, obviously, for the states to then grow the education department and the curriculums that they can teach, because they're so guided by this Department of Education and on what they can teach or cannot teach. What do you think happens if, in fact, it does shut down? What's the benefit? I know the benefit to it, but who's it going to benefit most at that point?
Well, I think it's going to benefit the students and the states. They can be the master of their own destiny.
You would hope.
Yeah. In some ways, the DOE is a shill for the union anyway, right?
Correct.
So that's the reason.
That's why she's going nuts.
That's the reason she's having a hissy fit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So look, did anybody freak out when Bill Clinton fired 375,000 federal workers?
Nope.
No.
Sure didn't. Nope. At the time, that was what we should have done, right? You know,
we have okay. 2 + 2 is 4 is a non-political issue. 9 times 9 is 81, non-political issue. Mm-hmm. What happened where our kids, we knew all this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. We did the multiplication tables. Without the multiplication tables, you can't do division. And once you start getting into algebra, that becomes kind of difficult. Okay. Mm-hmm. So this is a non-political issue, basic math and basic reading. Why can't we get back to that? What is it now? Hopefully this gets to that point, but the Department of Education wasn't helping with that. So correct. We want to help the children. We want to get them to learn, Wayne. And I don't understand. There's no political issue here. There's no right and left on 2 + 2. I mean, what is your thoughts on that?
Well, I think a lot of this craziness started during the scamdemic, the COVID scamdemic. I mean, the DOE, Department of Education, acted like they were like the Supreme Court and the Department of Health and everything else. They were dictating what schools should do. There are schools in San Francisco today that are back to wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And so it's a form of oppression, I think. But look at Texas and Florida, where the governors have said, here's what we're going to do to protect schools. We're going to have an armed guy at every school. You have to have an armed guy at every school, either a police officer or somebody that's qualified. Yeah. And that made our schools safer. The other states don't do that.
Correct. Not only just other states. So that's true. You're going to take like Governor Pritzker in Illinois. He's not going to do that. You know, the money is going to be then funneled down to the states and left up to the states to do it. And people, parents, and if they have the ability to, will leave those states and go towards ones that offer the protection for their children, better educations, the school choice programs. And then you're left with, you know, an entire state of just complete chaos in the middle, surrounded by the Indianas and the Kentuckys and all that. And to me, it's like, when's it gonna get through their heads that we can't go down this path in this particular state? That's the part that just baffles me. I'm just struggling with the whole Trump derangement syndrome, the whole left's approach on everything. The fact that they don't care about the children, or they don't care about America. They damn well know these aren't stupid people. They know that they have to protect children. They know that men are men and women are women. They know men shouldn't play in women's sports, but yet they die on these hills, and I can't figure it out. I literally just can't figure it out.
Their hate for Trump, like he said in this speech, is greater than their love for the community or whatever it is. If he says
that common sense.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And there's a comment in here from M's dad. He also made it point to, as well as we always talk about this from day one, which really frustrates me beyond belief, is that we give more money per student than any other industrialized nation in the world.
We spend more per pupil,
and we're worse on these test scores. And it's frustrating when you see that, because you've got these educators. What more do you want? Well, we need more money. You do? I mean, to do what? You need more money to do what? And and it frustrates me because it's a combination of everybody. It's politicians, it's administrations, it's teachers, and it's parents.
Mhm.
At some point in time, all four of them have to come together at some point in time. And your
Well,
parents can't just sit there and say it's up to the teachers to teach my kid. They can't do that. The teachers need the parents to help. The administrators need to stop giving their principals $200,000 a year and not putting assistants in the classrooms. And the and the politicians need to stop saying, "Well, I got to take the parent side because they're the voters."
Yeah.
And it's like it's a cycle, and I don't know how to fix it.
Yeah, that's my point. Yeah.
Which is why private schools have a waiting list. People want
Yeah.
their kids to learn, so they're paying 20, 30, 40,000 a year extra
Correct.
to have their kids get an education. The pandemic, or as I call it, the scamdemic,
Yeah.
didn't help us because some kids were out of school
No.
for 2 years. And
Correct.
so, and their parents weren't teaching them the same way at home, and it wasn't
No, they
structured.
weren't.
And a lot of the parents still had to go to work. They didn't stay home.
Correct.
And the kids
Yeah.
are watching, kids are watching YouTubes all day.
Yep. Correct. The only thing I think it did help with was parents, the ones that did pay attention, the ones that did stay home, the ones that were able to, saw what the hell's going on here. Look at this curriculum. Look at what's being taught. Wait a second. This whole mass thing is bull crap. This whole, there's no interaction. This whole learning virtually at home is not working. And it gave them an open, honestly, it led the movement of, parents and, organizations like Moms for Liberty and those kind of folks. And, to really take a stand and notice that stuff. I mean, it backfired. Truthfully, I mean, the whole pandemic, scamdemic backfired on them. As most things do given time with the left. So it didn't surprise me at all. It's just, I'm just so baffled at the left at this point, not that I never wasn't, but, then after the State of the Union and see their behavior there, and it just culminates and it continues, and every day, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Thank God Trump's in there. The thing that aggravates me, Wayne, is that they're such idiots, the left, and I put them all in the same bucket. They're such idiots that they, forced that, what I believe, the stolen election in 2020, or Trump would be out of office now. They would have moved on from this. And so my fear is a lot of executive orders go through, a lot of things are happening that are good for the country. But in 4 years, Lord only knows what's going to happen. In 2 years, who knows what's going to happen in the state of Florida with the governorship? We don't know. We could be the Illinois of the South. We don't know that. It all depends on voters and who gets put in office. The cycle's got to stop at some point, and I just don't know how that's going to happen. It's just I don't know how it happens. The media still hasn't learned their lesson. They are still spewing lies. They are still bringing on J.D. Vance's cousin to talk about how he was rude in the Oval Office to Zelensky. It's absolutely bizarre and nuts out there. What's going on? I guess the only thing we can do is what you do, is try to teach schools and try to teach parents and try to teach educators and try to teach houses of worship how to protect themselves. And it also is about, how do you move forward from there? It's good to protect it, but you got to have the plan. I guess we all need a plan, because the left isn't relentless and they're never going to stop at this. There, I'm off my soapbox.
Can you imagine that every single Democrat voted against keeping men out of women's locker rooms?
Every one of them. Not one of them had a moral compass or common sense or had balls enough to say, wait a second, none of that makes sense. I don't care what my party says. And to me, that's all goes along to me with, I can even stretch it further to term limits. That you have a short period in here to make this difference. You're not going to be running again, make the common sense judgment. But no, these are lifelong positions now at this point for most of them. And so they're just going to go along with them where they're getting their money from. Sure, I'll say whatever I need to say in order to keep getting the funding so I can run my next reelection.
And the funny thing
nuts.
about that is the only way to change that is for the congressmen and Senate to vote.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not
So
going to happen.
when Linda McMahon says, we're going to need help from Congress, well, to
Good
close
luck.
the Department of Education, good luck with all
And
that.
Yeah.
so Wayne, on this Doge stuff, because we always hear the Dems in the House coming out and saying that they have no right to cut anything. And keep in mind, Elon Musk and his Doge team are not cutting anything. They're identifying the situations that they have it, and then the secretaries are doing it. The secretaries are laying people off. The secretaries are doing this. So, but we need, if the Congress is coming out and saying we hold the purse strings, we control where that money goes, right? We have to. Can't we get the Republicans in Congress to pull in an emergency thing and say, okay, we're gonna with this. I don't know how to do it, but to go in and say, okay, we are going to repeal. Because let's say not all the $2 billion went to Stacey Abrams. So we're going to repeal that. We're going to repeal that $2 million. We're going to pull it back, vote on it. And can they do that?
Or
reallocate it? Yeah, but I think in theory, remember there's three branches. So the executive branch, that's the problem with these left-wing courts that people go to for a stay and a hold on what they can do. They don't have jurisdiction. The executive branch should be able to run under Title II, the Constitution. They should be able to run the executive branch. So all those people that are the Trump appointed or got confirmed, the cabinet, those people should be able to stop and withdraw and claw back. For the perfect example is Lee Zeldin, right? At the EPA. So he's clawing back some of that money.
20 billion or something.
Yeah, that's a responsible thing for him to do. And that's what they have to do in terms of executive orders, Dale. Like what you said, I think the only way to do that is to get Congress to codify those things into law. Or if not, heaven forbid, the next president, if he's a Democrat, is going to reverse everything like Biden did.
Yeah, correct. And we're back into this vicious circle. That's the whole point of it. Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. What shocks me about the whole no, it doesn't shock me because we know that they're getting the money and it's all that. And we know where the money's coming from USAID and Doge, what Doge is finding and all that. But I just want to play a little thing from Bernie Sanders, our good friend Bernie Sanders back in 2010 and just see why doesn't it apply today is I guess my big question.
No question that there is an enormous amount of waste and fraud and abuse in this government. There is no question to my mind that Congress has not been vigilant enough in rooting out that waste and fraud to the tune of billions and billions of dollars. I would simply say that while it is absolutely appropriate to condemn the Congress, it is also important to note that we have an administration in this city, in Washington, D.C., and the function of an administration is to administer. And that means that when there is waste and fraud, you have an administration who should also be on top of that situation.
Well, maybe not, Bernie. So thank God for videotape. That's all I'm saying. Now, they'll never see that on CNN or MSNBC or anywhere. But my point is that he's right. In 2010, he was equally as right as it is now. You have an administration. There was a mandate said, we voted for you. You hire people. Those people do the wishes of the president and the president's voters. That's how this all works. And they have the right to take funds back. They have a right to cut back. Not only that, they have the duty as a leader to make sure we aren't further in debt. We're reducing our debt. We're spending our taxpayer money wisely. This can't be no matter how the left spews this. Doge is very popular across this country. People are very, very in tune to what is happening at that department. Does the president not have the ability then, because of these judges and Pam Bondi, I guess, how do you remove a judge that stops a president from?
You have to impeach him.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's federal appointed judge. What is the, the only way you can, they leave, right? I mean, either they do something criminal and get impeached, or they decide on their own to leave, right?
Yep.
Um,
Yep. It's like Justice Alito said from the Supreme Court in the last one. He doubts whether those little district judges even have jurisdiction. So
yeah,
the left goes to the left-winging judges that they
Yes,
like.
but
I'm looking at today's update. Lee
Mhm.
Zeldin just posted total savings of $2 billion.
2
He
billion.
canceled
Okay.
2 billion with a B. He
Mhm.
canceled 400 DEI and environmental justice grants across 9 grant programs. So it's
yeah,
working.
but
It's
according
working.
to Rachel Maddow, that's not much.
Yep,
Yeah.
200,000. Yeah,
Yeah.
200,000 credit cards
Mhm.
Wow.
were canceled that were being used for personal use.
200,000.
Well, we saw
Holy
some
crap. At the
we saw
EPA.
some government we saw some government workers who were working from home who had second jobs
Yeah.
because they were because they weren't doing their government job. And
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah. Not
So
because they needed a second job.
Yeah. Rubio has canceled now, as effective today, 5,200 contracts that that saved billions.
Cool.
And
Wow.
he has canceled 83% of USAID programs.
Wow.
So it's looking good.
It's
We're
looking
moving.
good. And
We're
well, that's
getting there.
right. It's the continued winning every day that that we're enjoying. It's I just don't understand the Democrats and how they just decide that none of this is good for the country, or like I don't know. I'm just baffled.
No, you notice they don't like it when the spending is on defense.
Oh, I
They
know
don't
that.
like it when the spending is on defense, and we
Mhm.
need to spend money on defense, especially
Mhm.
with what we're seeing going on in China right now.
Yep,
Yeah.
correct. Yep,
I
correct.
hope we find out who signed these contracts.
That's
We need to know who launched all
Mhm.
this stuff. It's cool to cancel them, but who backed them and how did
Who
it
backed
come
it all?
from?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
that's I think
to
that's
go
what we
one
all
step
want to see, Wayne.
and to go another step further, Wayne, these Social Security checks or these Medicaid checks that are going out to these people that are supposedly 250 years old, I want to know if they're being cashed. And
Mhm.
and if they're being cashed, I want to know who's cashing
Who's
them.
doing
Because
that?
last time I checked, each time you cash that check, that is a felony.
Federal
It
felony.
is. Well, think of the 11-year-olds and under who were
Mhm.
getting the SBA loans for 150,000 each.
Yeah.
What I want to know, here's a good math question. See how sharp you guys are.
Okay.
This is like a hypothetical math question. So
Okay.
a barmaid that is about to file bankruptcy runs for Congress and gets elected and gets paid 174,000 a year.
Yep. Mhm.
And her recent financial statement shows that she's worth millions.
Mhm.
How does that math work?
Well, I don't know. Maybe we go directly to AOC and ask her.
Yeah, and asking for a
Maybe
friend.
she was a
Asking
really
for
good.
a friend.
Maybe she was a really good bartender.
Maybe she's
Maybe
tips.
we don't know.
No
I mean-
tax on tips now. Maybe she claimed it finally. It's like she saved all her tips.
Wow.
Yeah, none of that math adds up. You're absolutely right, Wayne. Listen, we could go on and on for hours. We got to have you back and got to have you back more, my friend. It's good to talk to you. I kind of went off on tangents because I literally every day I wake up and I love the winning. And then I'm just like baffled by how anybody else on the other side could be,
Well,
not
I mean, we
happy with
always
it.
sit here and say that, it's looking good, right?
Mhm.
It's looking good that they keep doing this and just making so the midterms are going to go even better. We'll get more in the House, but something always happens, there's just, and so you just want to be careful and just keep letting the Dems keep doing what they're doing,
Just let-
keep stepping
shooting
on their own,
themselves in the foot,
tripping themselves up, and we
No,
got it.
They're the gift that keeps on giving.
Right now they are.
Look at the presentation of Congress.
Yeah.
What kind of person are you that you cannot stand
Yep.
for a little boy that is fighting cancer.
With all the tipping points that the Dems have pushed me over on, that one did it. Since that moment, that day, I have generalized every single Democrat as just evil with no morals. I have. I mean,
as long as we keep seeing Crockett and Presley out there speaking for the Democrat Party,
running their party,
we're just fine.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no,
I know. Yeah,
yeah,
but it's true. You
the
bring up the
gift
point. How can you not stand for that? How was that bipartisan? Or not? It's absolutely baffling to me. I just can't figure it out. Wayne, how can people get in touch with you if they want your services, if they want your advice, if they, and then tell us where they can find the book School Insecurities, and when's the new one coming out?
I think the new one will be out in probably 5 or 6 months.
Good. Okay.
But School Insecurity, in parentheses, is at Amazon and Barnes and Noble. And I'm at wayneblack.com. It's just really simple.
It is.
And they can email me there or call me, and I'm happy to help.
Yep.
You've got some fans,
you
Wayne.
always are. Another great interview. Always glad to have Wayne here. Yep. Thank you.
And then here's one down here. Karna. Wayne is fantastic. Look at that.
Yeah. And strikingly handsome. I don't know if anybody's noticed that, but
well, it's amazing what you can do with the filters nowadays.
I need more filters.
Between filters and makeup, man, I've got it made.
Good to go. Wayne, as always, you're a great friend and a great friend of the show, and just a great human being in general. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for coming on again. Again, like you say, you're always welcome. We tried to have I think we tried to schedule you a couple times, but you're just nope. I'm going here and I'm going. You're busy.
I was traveling.
Busy.
But look, you guys are be commended for getting the word out. You're putting the real, honest word out, and that's the cool thing about your Patriot Prayer Network. You guys are doing
and that's
it.
what the network is doing.
Yeah,
the network's really
Wayne, you're the best, my friend. Stay in touch. We'll talk soon. There it is. Put it up there. www.wayneblack.com. Simple.
Take care, Wayne, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.
Keep
us updated. Keep us posted.
Keep us updated. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne.
Bye.
Oh, Jimmy, I'm telling you, as always, Wayne is spot on. And I'll tell you,
I want to welcome Crane Man Fort, FTW. Kurt, I'm assuming that's you. Welcome, Kurt. My friend Kurt that I told you that listens to.
Oh, is that him?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe he didn't want his name mentioned. That's why he's got Crane Man.
I'm sure he did, and I don't give a shit if he didn't. But he's never able to watch us live. But he put up their post. He's able to watch us live today.
Oh,
so
cool.
welcome.
Well,
Thank
good.
you.
I look forward to meeting. He will be, I think, is he coming to the Warrior Weekend?
Yep. Yes, he is. So far,
I've heard a lot about him, and I want to meet him. So,
yeah. So
great.
is Crazy Southpaw, but he's not on here.
Where's he at today?
I don't know.
Anyways, a lot of good comments, a lot of Dad, thank you. I appreciate it. We meant to put them all up there. Jim, he has to fumble with his fingers because I don't know.
Well, I don't have a mouse. I'm on a separate computer.
Yeah, it's amazing to me.
It's just hard.
But at any rate, so we didn't get to all your comments, all that, and I really appreciate it. There was a ton of them, and so thank you for paying attention to that.
Yeah, see, here's that from Crane Man.
I'm sure we'll have more hearings. Not a single person is held. That's our problem. That's
what we've been saying. Yeah,
we got a short. I think what is a short period of time, and it's growing shorter every day, is he's got 2 years and now less than 2 years where he's got full control. We need these perp walks, and we need Pam Bondi to get off her ass and start doing something. I understand Wayne is, and I'm not against her. I just, and I know these things take time. I don't know what the behind the scenes things are, but what does it say? MZ, have we stopped sending Medicare money to 200? I don't know.
It's not the fact sending it. Like I said before,
it is.
Dad, I want to know who's cashing it.
Well, I want to know who sends it too. Who's the idiot in charge of, I forget one little, something happens on my tax return and they're auditing me, I'm getting nailed by these people.
Grit gear. We've all become puppets. Talk is cheap. Our country is being stolen, and we don't have anything but have to do anything but talk about it. Nothing is ever done to change things. Why? Yeah, exactly.
That's my baffling.
And that's why we got to get this shit. We need secret walks.
Roll.
Honestly.
under control. Jim, real quick.
Yeah, we need to put that up.
Go Reds. No,
he's a Reds fan too.
Sorry. Did want to meet him. At any rate. So, and then this, I want to know all of it, Jim. Yep. All of it. I want it all out there. I literally, and I think it will. I really do. I don't think you have a Cash Patel and a Dan Bongino at the FBI and nothing's going to happen, honestly.
But you made a good point that Cash Patel has asked for direct.
He has. That's what I've heard. I don't know that that's confirmed or not. That's kind of what I've heard and what's kind of being reported. Whether any of that's true or not, I don't know. But that tells you, why would you need to go around the attorney general, which is the protocol, unless that's the way they're setting it up. It's like, no, I want you to have a direct line. I want you to have a direct line. I want you to have,
and everybody has to keep in mind, we are 5 days away from Dan Bongino joining Cash Patel.
We are.
It's right. March 17th, I think.
March 17th
is when he starts
today.
So
17th. Yeah. March 17th he starts.
So,
so we'll see. We'll see what happens. He's not going to give up on it. Jim, I want to hear real quick from Grit Gear. And then you know what's happening after that.
Yes, I do.
You know what's happening after that.
Yeah, I do.
And Jim will tell us then after that what Monday's top 5 is going to be, right, Jim? Because you brought your list.
Yep. Well, we already know it's going to be because Buckeye suggested one, and we'll just add that to before the list. And by the way, no, I don't have my list today, so thank you, Buckeye, for saving me on that.
At home. Look at you, unprepared. Here's Grit Gear and Lock and Load. Stay tuned. We've got more show. Be right back.
Grit is defined as firmness of character, unyielding courage in the face of hardship or danger. At Grit Gear Apparel, we honor all military, police, fire, public service, and patriotic Americans, both men and women regardless of color, creed, or religion. Our brand represents the love and freedom for our country, the heroism of all our men and women, and the principles of what this wonderful country was built on. Our goal is to regenerate the sense of patriotism and to spark the American pride within us, to stand together in the toughest times and become victorious, to preserve all our freedoms, to honor our flag, and to respect the men and women who have fought and died for us to have these freedoms. Wear our brand with pride, with a sense of patriotism, and as a statement for the love of our country. Whether you're military, public official, or civilian, our brand is for you. Together we stand as Americans.
We do stand as Americans, except for the Democrats who don't.
Yeah.
But at any rate, we should be standing as Americans united.
Who's a threat to democracy again?
Not gritgearapparel.com and not lockandloadcoffee.com. That's for sure. Please go
and
there.
There was
those great Americans for us and a great family-owned company. 2 guys get you 10% off everything you buy. Code
and Rich, there was a really good comment on X, on our X for about Grit Gear and Lock and Load. So hopefully we're getting you some more people coming.
I hope so. That's what we got to do. We got to try to get stuff.
I didn't bring the coffee today, so I'm kind of it's just not the same thing.
I feel like I drank too much today. Did you hear me during that interview? I was terrible. I was just blabbing on. I was like, I didn't ask what. Listen, we've talked to Wayne 4 million times, even off air. You know.
Well, this is a different topic. This is something different. You know, usually
I'm just so pissed off at the Democrats. I can't stop talking about it.
Yeah. So it's but Grit Gear, the shirts, everything. I mean, the coffee, go out and check it out, folks. Just and share it with people. Say, hey, you got your patriotic T-shirts or patriotic shirts or coffee. Go check them out. Send them to them.
We got a lot of red shirts we're going to be buying here pretty soon.
I've got
an order.
I should be getting them here shortly.
With them, so that will be coming up. So I've got an order, and they requested, I want some of that Grit Gear stuff for my birthday. I said, okay, that's what I'll get you. So I'm gonna do it. At any rate, Jim. It's top 5 game shows. Jim DeZarmo, come on down. Here we go.
That's kind of ironic. That's on my list.
Yeah, kind of ironic. Most of them are going to be on there. I'm going to tell you one that I didn't put on there. Okay. that I'm absolutely addicted to. And it has nothing. LeBron
Survivor?
James was part of the creator. I don't like
Survivor?
him. No, it's not a game show, you stupid. So if you've watched on like Game Show Network or anything like that, The Wall, if you've seen that before when it was on the pad,
Yes,
that game is absolutely solidly entertaining to watch.
It is pretty good. Yes,
pretty damn good. It's probably my favorite one. It's not on my list.
Yeah, it's too
only
soon.
because it's LeBron James, right?
It's too soon. And The Floor is good too, with Rob Lowe. If you've ever watched that,
Yeah, The Floor is cool. It's a cool
that's
game
pretty
show.
cool, right.
You know, it is a cool game show. So I mean, and some of
Too
them
soon,
are
though.
good. Too soon.
Yep.
Too soon. It's Wednesday. I go first, don't I?
Yep.
And then we'll play. I see the lists over here. I'm going to.
Yeah, there's some good lists.
There's some damn good ones over there. Oh, yeah, we match. So.
Oh my God, M's dead. I forgot one of them on your list. Holy shit. I cannot believe it. That's a good list.
It is. Well, they're all good. I've got some on both. I mean, so it's not going to be typical.
Damn.
All right, here we go. Top 5 greatest game shows of all time. Yes, I take the short title and I make it longer.
I didn't. Top 5 game shows, what I did.
It's hard to tell that I'm the type of guy that spreads things out and wants to talk more, you know. So, top 5 greatest game shows of all time in the United States of America between the years 1947 and 2025. Here we go. Number 5, Match Game.
Good.
Absolutely one of my favorite of all time, even with goofy Charles Nelson Riley up there.
Yeah.
But to me, that was one of the most unique game shows and just fun to watch.
Good.
It was quick.
It was very good.
You could play along at home. Great. It was just one of those great game shows. Classic Gene Rayburn, the long ass microphone, orange carpeting. Yeah. Yeah. The orange carpet, the shag carpeting or pink shag carpeting, depending on what year it was. Just
and
classic.
it's just the guest stars on there. I mean,
I know.
There, yeah,
Richard Dawson, Betty White's on there. You know, Brett Summers, who I don't know did anything but be on the Match Game. I don't know anything about her, and I'm showing my age. So now we're gonna move to number 4. The Price is Right. I even like it with Drew Carey. I got to be honest with you.
Yep.
I think it's
like
a fun game.
I'm a Drew Carey fan.
I like Drew Carey.
Yep.
But Bob Barker, of course, is just classic.
Absolutely.
You know, Price is Right. Just you almost can't have a list without The Price is Right on there, to be honest with you. So sorry anybody else who didn't have that on there, but it's true. Also, Card Sharks. I love this game. I almost had all gambling games like Joker's Wild.
Yep.
I literally almost Press Your Luck. I almost had on there.
Love that game.
Yeah. I love Card Sharks, high or lower. It's basically simple, you know, but just a fun game. I like any gambling games, to be honest with you. So, as you probably know about me and my wife. So Card Sharks is up there at number 3. Number 2, Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Now look at that. That seems highly intellectual for Dale.
Games.
And you are correct.
Trivia games.
I love the game. I don't know how those nerds know all that crap, to be honest with you. Jim's right up there. I always said you should go on Jeopardy, Jim. Because I think you know the 19th century king of the Mayan, Aztec, whatever they talk about on there. I think you know the answers to those, is what I think.
Yeah, Chief Rising Sun.
Who is Chief Rising? You didn't even ask it in the form of a question, Jim.
I don't have to. That's how good I am.
You're disqualified. Then number 1, Wheel of Fortune. Pat Sajak was just absolutely. That to me is just the best game show.
I just wasn't a big, huge fan of that. But
I loved Wheel of Fortune.
I get it. And I get why people liked it. Yeah.
And honest to God, you tell me which game show has turned into a larger slot machine business than Wheel of Fortune.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
I love playing it at the casinos, even though I'm not a big slot guy, but the wife plays slots more than I do. But it's I love this. It's absolutely one of my favorite games. So there's my top 5. Again, The Wall could have been on there. Joker's Wild could have been on there. Oh, here we go. Let's put it up there. We got Buckeyes list.
Yep.
Top bingo. Great.
Yep.
That's a game. Match game.
Match game. Yeah. Love Connection
it's a
was
game
good.
show.
It was
I mean,
good.
it's technically a game show.
Mhm.
You're right. Let's Make a Deal. I was never a huge fan of Let's Make a Deal. I don't know why.
I
Family
liked
Feud's
it.
classic.
Family
Whether it
Feud,
was
yeah.
Richard Dawson, I didn't much care for Louis Anderson when he hosted it. Or anything. I'm just not a big fan of it. Wasn't.
Steve
Rest
Harvey
in
does a
peace,
good
Louis.
job.
Steve Harvey does a great job on it. That's a good list. That's a good list.
Very good list.
No doubt. M's dad, Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune.
Are you
smarter than a
I
fifth
forgot
grader?
about that.
That was a great
love that show.
It wasn't on long enough for me.
No.
Family Feud with Steve Harvey and Double Dare. Good list.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Very, very good list. Yeah, it's I'm telling you, there could have been just a bazillion of them on there. A bazillion game shows. It's even some of the old one, like Truth or Consequences.
Yeah.
I love Win Ben Stein's Money. I just hate Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
I love that show.
Yeah, he used to be funny, honestly.
He used to be, when he was a man, he used to be. Correct. So, Jim, what is your list? Let's get to yours real quick.
I gotta hold on.
Oh, he's fumbling with his fat fingers. And I say that because we all say fat. Look at this. I can barely see it.
I know. Folks, just to let you know, I don't
Boy, he
have
went all
my
out.
computer. I have my old computer that I'm using, and it's a different PowerPoint.
And yet you still have better internet than I do.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Top 5 game shows.
Yeah, my number 5, Family Feud.
Family Feud.
Yeah,
No doubt. That's a fun one. Everyone can
Yep.
play along at home. It's absolutely a classic. No doubt.
And so number 4, Press Your Luck.
You had Press Your Luck. I love that show.
Whammy.
No whammies. No whammies. Big money. I love that show.
It was great.
Yeah,
They did that show well.
They
the
did.
new one's okay.
Yeah, with Elizabeth. What's her name?
I can't. Banks. Is it Banks?
Elizabeth Banks, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
So,
cute,
but yeah, I love that game show. Jeopardy.
Ooh, not number 1. I am shocked.
Well,
I thought for sure
I
you're
did number
nerdy game.
1. I did number 1 the way I did it, and I'll explain in a little bit. But
okay.
Jeopardy
makes sense.
Yep.
Great show.
I mean, when there was only 4 channels, I can remember my father. We would all sit around as a family, and we would all play. And it was competed against each other and all of that. And if it wasn't a sports category, I was screwed at that time. So
hold on, can I play this before you go on?
Yeah, go
Because this has to do with me. Okay, we get it. You like Match Game, blah blah blah. Rich, let me explain a little bit further how much I like it, just to piss him off. So,
number 2. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
That
Now,
was a great
I will
one.
say this: when it first came out, it was so popular that they started having it every night.
Deal or
That's
No
where
Deal
they
was
ruined
also
it.
great, by the way.
That's where they ruined it.
Too
often, too
They
many
did that
times.
with
I mean,
Deal or
we
No
wanted to see it because it was fun. It was really fun. I mean, just the way they did it, and Regis was, as much as I hated his show, he was really good on this.
Yep.
He was really good on this. And but I always liked Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And
it was a good show. It was a good show. They did overplay it, but yeah, it was a good show.
The reason why I have my number 1, The Price is Right, because it was, I mean, it's the game show that a lot of people go to from when you're talking about Bob Barker, and you just go back, and not to mention the fact that he was in Happy Gilmore.
That's right. And he beat the crap
Price
out of
is wrong,
Adam Sandler.
Bob.
Right. I heard he's in the second one. I heard they filmed something with him before he passed on for the second Happy Gilmore. So we'll see what happens. But
well, so those are my 5, and I agree with you. When I first started doing this, it's like, oh man, I was looking forward to it, and then it's like, maybe this wasn't so.
Yeah, it wasn't as exciting, but it was pretty obvious to me. That was the problem. It's like, oh well, obviously that I like that. Obviously that's a classic one that should be on the list. And obviously, what did Buckeye say? Yep, Game Show Network has some. They do. I mean, they've got.
There's some really good ones out there. There really is.
If you've never watched Switch on Game Show Network, I love that show. It's just a really simple show, but I like that show. I mean, there is a lot of good ones out there.
Have you seen the show? It's the one with the balls, not
the Barker kicking his ass. Way to go, Tarna. Yep.
What is it? It's not the Wipeout. It's not that one, but it's the one where they
which was good.
Yeah, they stand. It's a newer one.
Oh, and
now.
the balls roll down, knock them over.
Yeah,
right?
knock you
into
over
the water.
If you get it wrong, that's kind of fun to watch.
That's kind of good.
Really is.
I think it's Isn't it called
I
like
can't
Big
remember
Balls
the
or
name.
some crap like that?
I was
think
going to
it's
say
called
Big
that.
Balls, but
I think it is called that. I think it's actually called that. Yeah, I think
but
that's what
that's
it's
a pretty
called.
good show.
It's a
I
fun
enjoy
game to
that.
watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. What does Grit Gear say here? Let's see. Can you name 5 things different about the two guys, Jim? The two guys about us?
I think on my
Huh?
first screen. Is that what he's asking about?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw that up there. I
It
told
was
you
this
I'm working
big.
with.
Did you know it was going to be that small on your screen?
Because if I would have made it too big, it would have been too. You would
You would have fit the
wouldn't been able
page
to
and we
see
could
it.
have seen it.
Yeah, but keep in mind this is a very old PowerPoint. So
Yeah, I mean, what is it even called PowerPoint? What you're using?
yeah, PowerPoint 1.0.
PowerPoint 1987 version.
I
Holy
had a hard
smokes,
time
Jim!
copying and pasting to it.
Oh, I bet you did. Especially if you don't have a mouse for it. Like, why don't you use? You don't have like a remote, like a wireless mouse that you just plug in the. Jim, I'm trying to figure out what the problem here was.
Hey, look,
So-
we were able to do the show. All right.
God bless you. You're dang right we did. Jim, what is next Monday?
I think we're
Top-
going to do what. Excuse me.
Oh,
we're going to
gosh.
do what Buckeye recommended.
Yeah.
Top 5 dynasties, and no, the Reds are not going to be on there, but they should be.
Top 5 shows named Dynasty?
No,
or
top 5 sports dynasties. Sports dynasties. So there'll be
sports,
some
not a
Edmonton Oilers
specific.
possibly. You know,
It could be
they'll-
anything.
Yep. Could be hockey.
Edmonton
could be-
Oilers could be on.
will not accept anything soccer.
Nope, I'm
but
sorry, I will not.
Hockey. And do we want to go as far as college as well or professional?
Ooh.
Because if
Bro,
you add
gotta
college,
separate,
you know what you
bro.
got to add.
Yeah, you got to.
So-
Yeah, you got to separate.
Okay,
gotta
so
separate it.
professional
Sports.
dynasties.
Yeah, we could do a whole top 5 college dynasty. That'd be a good one too.
Yeah.
But top 5 professional dynasty.
And so no.
And I don't
soccer-
think winning the World Series 2 years in a decade is a dynasty. That's
in my
just
heart
mine.
it is. Yes, Grit Gear, Cleveland Browns #1. Yep, that is a dynasty. Not sure what dynasty you're looking at, but
All sports, M's yes, all sports, but
All sports.
professional.
yes,
Yeah,
all
professional. And I'm sorry, soccer cannot.
And
Is it team sports? Or
Yes.
just okay.
no soccer and no San Francisco 49ers.
I know.
0. Not allowed. Forget it.
Okay, here we go. Buckeye. Yep. Top 5 sports: Major League, NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB. That's exactly how I will explain it
Yes.
on my list too.
Oh yeah, well, and
The
that
big
and
four.
then some.
The
It'll
big
be
four. So
500
the big
words.
4 sports. Yes. Yeah. We can't do like top, 5 golf dynasty. I mean, like individual.
Well, Tiger and Jack
number
Nicholson.
1. Tiger and Jack will go back and forth there. And then Arnold Palmer, and then Gary Player, and then Tom Watson. I mean, we can go on and on.
M's dad, 3 out of your 5 hockey.
That's
there were
absolutely
some
fine, and it should be.
great
There's some great hockey dynasties.
There were
Absolutely, there
some.
could be.
Correct. And
Yep.
I'm not as knowledgeable on hockty, but I do know them.
I'm probably less knowledgeable than the other 3 sports, but it's yeah. I mean, there's some great hockey dynasties of all time, right?
Oh, yeah.
So okay. We're
Yeah.
talking about
I mean,
Bronx
we-
Bombers, those guys.
Exactly. There could have been 2 different eras.
There could have
With
been
the
but
Yankees,
you know what I'm saying.
technically speaking, but I think you just
Yeah.
So, and you need to give the years.
Yeah,
Right.
please. Yeah, I think that's nice
because
that you would do that.
because you could easily say the Yankees, right? Because
So-
they had 3 different ones, right?
They did. I mean, they got the most World
90s,
Series rings.
the
So
60s, and 50s and 60s, and then the 20s. And
that's right. That's right.
But when
And
you
the
have 4 of
Expos,
the
and the Expos, make sure
when you have
separate
4 of the
those.
top players in the whole freaking Major League Baseball on your team, and there's no free agency,
No, you're
it'll be
right.
pretty good.
Yeah, but also because there's no free agency, you were bound to the
Yeah.
team.
Yeah, so
I
that's why the
Kind
Yankees.
of wish they'd go back to that. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, would you like to have pitched to Gehrig, and then by the way, you got to pitch to Babe Ruth as
What
well,
year? What year? Gary?
and Roger Maris, the 17s, 20s,
Okay.
the 27 Yankees that
Yeah.
year,
No.
and then of course you've got DiMaggio,
Mickey Mantle.
and Wiki
You know.
Mantle, that group, and it's like,
Yep.
yeah,
No.
okay.
Nope.
As
Roger
much as I
Maris.
hate the
Nope.
Yankees, you have
Gosh,
to
you can't
respect. They
deny.
had some great dynasties. They
They
truly
sure did. They sure did. No, I would not want to. So, top 5 Big Four, NHL, NBA, NFL, MLB, sports dynasties. That is for Monday. On Monday.
Cornhole. I don't
what?
think there's a corn. Is there somebody dynasty in cornhole? I mean,
Which version of cornhole are we speaking about? Oh, oh my God.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Did you check?
It's
Are you looking?
It's not coming up yet.
Oh, Buckeye. Yeah. Hardest franchise to be a fan of. That is a very good potential, but of course, guess who won? Cleveland Browns.
Well, in all honesty,
that's the truth.
Bengals. I haven't had a great. Yes, I've been to some Super Bowls.
Yeah,
but
they're not on the list. I don't think the Bengals are even. Yeah, they're in the mix somewhere. Yeah, no. You got when you can see it. Look at the picture. I'll tell you, it's amazing. It's amazing, and the Browns beat them all. So, folks, listen. Yeah, look at that. The 3 Ohio teams in the Sweet 16. Yep. It's absolutely unbelievable. Folks, listen, as always, please go support Warrior Shield at warriorshield.org. Monday, we'll tell you about our special that's going to be next Wednesday evening. We will have 3 shows next week, Monday, Wednesday, our normal time, 10:30 Eastern. And then at 6 p.m. Eastern, we'll have the Warrior Shield, our second special. And we will have Steve Cleverly, who is the Sergeant of Arms on that episode. And we will have Julie Oleschlager, who is the mother of Corporal Chad Eric Oleschlager, and that's the foundation that she started in her son's name for PTSD. She has been on the show before once. They will both be joining us for that special next Wednesday evening. In the meantime, please go support the Warrior Shield at warriorshield.org, Grit Gear at gritgearapparel.com, and Lock and Load Coffee at lockandloadcoffee.com.
You will not be disappointed. I can promise you that.
It's the big 3 and who you should be supporting in your life. So you got some extra pennies laying around, go give it to them. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go to that communist Starbucks today. I'm going to go give that to Grit Gear or Warrior Shield or Lock and Load or something like that. Go do that. That's really what it's all about. We hope you are. Again, at Grit Gear
and you won't be paying $7 for a coffee.
No, you won't. At Grit Gear and Lock and Load, you use coupon code 2guys. Please remember to use that code, and please remember to tell your friends about that. 2guys, and they get 10% off. So win. Everybody's winning, like we are every day with the Trump administration. Tarna said what?
Yeah,
sorry, I was late and missed Wayne for. Oh, it's all right. Go back and watch the replay. At the beginning, you'll hear me ramble some more. What you missed was, Dale blabbing on like I am now. Never Buckeye says never have ever had a Starbucks coffee ever. Good for you. I heard it causes cancer, allegedly.
Yeah, well, their coffees, even their lightest coffee is too strong.
Yeah, it's terrible. Sorry, I didn't mean to put that. Starbucks is terrible in general, and it's not fresh like Lock and Loads. It's not.
Yeah. I mean, why would
absolutely
you
not?
Why would you go anywhere else?
Yeah, I know. We love you too, Tarna. Thank you again for your support. Everybody else who's commented, thank you for joining. Big Kurt, thanks again for joining today. I'm glad you made it. No, M's dad Starbucks is not worth it. Folks, we're out of here. Thank you again. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for listening to Wayne. Go follow Wayne at wayneblack.com. Get his book for your local administrators in your school, School Insecurities. Really, it's a step-by-step guide on how to protect the children in your community. Honestly, it's common sense and it's really well written. So please go support him as well. Jim, good luck in your travels. You'll be back in studio on Monday. Am I correct?
That I will be.
Whether I'm on the road or not, and where you're at, in a situation like that, we shall see. But it's coming up soon.
It could be, Rich.
We could be switching gears where I'm the one on the road, and
Rich be on standby in case one of us can't make it for a show.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
At the end of the month.
I'll be here Monday. I'll be here Monday and Wednesday for sure. No doubt. So, folks, until then, have a great weekend. Thank you again. Follow us on X at 2guys1coup and also at the Patriots Pray. please follow them and follow the Patriots Prayer Network with To the Point podcast with Raising Cain with Nate Kane, Cowboys and Indians with Stephen Maurice. You've got, who am I forgetting? A Bearded Patriot with Billy Painter and John Grosvenor.
Cowboys and Indians. You said Cowboys.
I said Cowboys and Indians. I did say that. And of course, Eddie has a show on there, The Patriots Prayer.
And we have
go follow them.
And we have 2 new ones coming up. And I like the one of them that's coming up. It's anti-view. So
it's going to be a great podcast on the network. We're looking forward to the new ones coming on board. We're growing every day, and it's because of all of you. So, folks, thank you again. Have a great weekend. Jim, we'll see you on Monday.
Goodbye.
Talk soon, everybody. Thanks. Bye.
Lost in the crowd, truth hides deep, bury in the noise. Left hand deals lies, can't stifle the choice.